Good morning, students. I hope everyone did the eye exercise. Are you all safe and happy at home? Yes, so we are all meeting after a week, and I hope everyone did the exams well. So let us take a minute to appreciate ourselves because successfully we completed the first test of this academic year, and everyone did a very good performance. I'm very happy that you all did well and expecting a better performance from this one. For the next time you should perform better than this, so you have to work hard and you have to concentrate towards your studies and focus on it very carefully. Okay, children? So here I have given some 8 foods which is rich in zinc. Why I have given this today is, so this zinc is a main reason to increase the strength of your immune system. So the zinc deficiency will create many diseases. So also it will pull down your immune strength also, immunity also. So pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate, garlic, sesame seeds, watermelon, squash or wheat germ, chickpeas, all these are available in our house itself, so you can have them. Chickpeas and all early in the morning you can have, or evening snack like konda kadala is there, no, that we call it as chickpeas, so which is very helpful and which will increase the immunity also. Okay, children, so please tell your parents to include all this food in your daily diet. Now let us see some interesting facts about sun. The sun accounts for 99.86% of the mass in the solar system, and over 1 million earth could fit inside the sun. How many earth? 1 million earth. Now temperature inside the sun can reach 15 million degrees Celsius. See, imagine 35 to 40 itself we couldn't manage. 15 million degrees Celsius means, see how hot it is there. The energy created by the sun's core is nuclear fusion. Fusion means it is joining together the particles. We will discuss in detail in 10th standard about what is nuclear fusion. The sun is almost a perfect sphere. Now let us recap what all we discussed in the last class. So we saw velocity time graph for uniform acceleration. So uniform acceleration means you will definitely get a straight line. So once you plot a graph for the time and velocity, so there we had a velocity of the car, yes or no? So from the graph you can see the values and we plotted the graph. So when you take a slope, the area under the graph will give you the distance covered. So we calculated, yes or no? So the area under the graph is this one blue color shaded area. So it is having a rectangle and a triangle. So we used a formula of area of rectangle and area of triangle. Based on that we were able to calculate the area under the graph, which will tell us the distance or magnitude of the displacement that is moved by the car in the given interval of time we were able to calculate. And this graph for the non-uniform acceleration. Then we saw equations of motion, so which is very important derivation also I told you. So we have 3 equations. So by this time you should be very thorough in this 3 equations. So first equation if I ask means you should say without thinking, very quickly you should say. That is V is equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, 2A is equals V square minus U square. So are you all thorough with this derivation? Okay, now let us move into the today's topic. Today we are going to see motion of freely falling body, uniform circular motion, centripetal acceleration and centripetal force, and centrifugal force. First let us start with the motion of freely falling body. For this, let us start with the activity. Now take a large stone and a small eraser, stand on the top of the table and drop them simultaneously from the same height. So you have to drop them at a time, both the objects you have to drop it at the same time. Now what you will observe, who will reach first? Both will reach the ground at the same time. Now you have to take a small eraser and a sheet of paper. Now drop them from the top of the table simultaneously from the same height. What do you observe now? Definitely eraser will reach first because this paper will be floating in the air. So since it is very light, it will be floating and reach after some time. Then you have to take two sheets of paper having the same mass, which means same paper, same size of two paper you have to take. You have to keep one as it is, the other one you have to crumple. Okay, you have to make like this, you have to crumple the other one. Now drop the sheet of the paper and ball from the same height. What do you observe now? What do you observe? Definitely the one which is crumpled will reach the ground first and the plain sheet of paper reaches later. Although they have equal mass, it will reach later. Do you know the reason, children? Okay, let us discuss now. Because when all these objects are dropped in the absence of air medium, absence of air medium means vacuum. That is, no air is present inside, means we call it as vacuum. All would reach the ground at the same time. So here what happens, the air medium, it is giving some resistance to the motion of a freely falling object. Freely falling object is nothing but one which is coming from the top without any disturbance. When you are throwing something from the top, that we call it as a freely falling object. Now, but it is because this air is offering some resistance to the motion of the freely falling object, which is very negligible when compared to that of the gravitational pull, because gravity will be more. Yes or no? Obviously gravity is more, and also this air is also giving some resistance to the motion. So hence they reach the ground at the same time. That is, stone and rubber, they are reaching at the same time, which is very negligible. There is some resistance for the stone and rubber. There is some resistance, but they reach the ground at the same time because this resistance of air is very negligible. Is it clear, children? So it can be seen from these activities that magnitude of air resistance depend upon the area of the object exposed to air. If there is no air at all, the paper and the stone will reach the ground at the same time. Yeah, okay, children, is it clear? If inside the vacuum, the both rubber and the paper will be reaching at the same time. Depending upon the presence of air only, it will be reaching the ground. Okay, this means that all objects, any objects, that is any hollow or solid, big or small, should follow at the same rate in the absence of air. And the equation of motion for a freely falling body can be obtained by replacing A in the equation with G. That is, we saw three equations of motion. V is equal to U plus AT. Yes or no? There you have to substitute. So if you see here, you can get the idea. So in these equations, you have to substitute U is equal to 0. So U is equal to 0 means V is equal to AT you will get. In the place of here, you have to put G. So V is equal to GT. Okay. And second one, you can see here, V is equal to GT. Okay. The same way, if you substitute U is equal to 0 and A is equal to G in second equation of motion, you will get this. And third equation of motion, if you substitute the same, you will get the same. Is it clear, children? Now, when you throw an object vertically upwards, so we also throw the ball upwards vertically. Yes or no? So that is the against the acceleration due to gravity, which means you have to take A as minus G. And when it's moving downwards, it is towards the gravity, you have to take A as plus G. So here in this case, throwing of rubber, paper and all, it is towards the gravity, so we are taking it as plus G. Next, we are moving on to uniform circular motion. So here you have to take a piece of thread and tie a small piece of stone at one of its end, and you have to rotate it. So what happens when you rotate and you stop suddenly from by one end? What will happen? The stone, at what direction the stone will go now? If you release the thread, means at which direction the stone will go out now? the stone will be going out along the straight line tangential to the circular path. Tangential means, so can you see one red line closed to curve along the curve of the circle? One red line is here, no? That only we call it as tangential to the circular path. So this is because once the stone is released, it continues to move along the direction it has been moving at that instant. So this shows that direction of motion changes at every point when the stone was moving along the circular path. Is it clear, children? So if when an object is moving with the constant speed along a circular path, the velocity changes due to the change in direction. So hence it is an accelerated motion. For example, you can say revolution of earth around the sun, revolution of moon around the earth, and tip of the seconds hand of a clock are all accelerated motions only. So how will you give the equation for this? By using a circumference of a circle, since it is rotating in a circular path. The circumference of the circle is what? 2 pi r. If a body takes time t to go once around the circular path, then the velocity v is given by the speed circumference divided by time, which is 2 pi r by t. Next, we are moving on to centripetal acceleration and centripetal force. When a body is said to be accelerated, children? A body is said to be accelerated if a velocity of the body changes either in magnitude or in direction. So, the motion of a stone in a circular path with constant speed and a continuous change of direction is an accelerated motion. Are you all clear? Motion of a stone in a circular path with constant speed and continuous change of direction. It is happening so. Yes or no? We call it as an accelerated motion. In this case, there must be an acceleration acting along the string directed inwards. Yes or no? There will be a force acting inwards. Definitely there will be a force which will be acting inwards, which makes the stone to move in a circular path. So what force is that? If you are holding in your hand, which force is acting? The rotation of your hand is giving some force which is acting inwards. Yes or no? So that is here. So this acceleration is known as centripetal acceleration, and this force we call it as an centripetal force. Since the centripetal acceleration is directed radially towards the center of the circle, we have an equation. So it must be acting on the object radially towards the center. Now let us consider an mass m moving along the circular path of radius r with the velocity v. Its centripetal acceleration is given by a is equal to v square by r. Now the magnitude of centripetal force is given by F is equal to m into a. So mass into centripetal acceleration. A is nothing but acceleration. So mass is m. Centripetal acceleration is v square by r. So together when you write it, F is equal to mv square by r. Next, we are going to see centrifugal force. So you have to take a piece of a stone and tie it in one end of the rope, and you have to rotate in such a way it is going in a circular path. Okay, so children, now what you will observe? Here you will experience an inward or outward pull. Here the pulling of the force that acts away from the center. So it is away from the center is experienced because this is just opposite of the centripetal force. So you can see here it's centripetal force means with the force which is acting inwards. Centrifugal force means the force that is acting outwards. So force acting in a body away from the center of the circular path is called centrifugal force. Here the centrifugal force acts in the direction which is opposite to that of the direction of the centripetal force. Its magnitude is same as that of the centripetal force. So here one example you can say is dryer in a washing machine, and also centrifuging, one separation technique we saw in chemistry. Do you remember? That also works in the principle of centrifugal force only. So the definition of centrifugal force is force arising from the body's inertia which appears to act on a body moving in a circular path is directed away from the center. So till today we have seen, I've completed the lesson motion. So today we have seen centripetal force, centrifugal force, uniform circular motion and motion of a freely falling object. So we have completed the lesson. The next class we will start off with a new lesson in chemistry. Until then, thank you children.